All right, let's get started again. There was a hiatus because YouTube, then Google both um, banned my account because I guess because it was new and I was uploading content fairly quickly. I'm not sure. There were two separate events, and after the second one from Google, I assumed it was actually going to get banned. Um, I appealed both, but they took a while to get back. So I just kind of stopped recording. I thought the whole channel was going to get deleted, and it kind of zapped my um, motivation. Well, motivation to record, I should say, not for the project. So I had recorded one additional video, but it was tons of fumbling around. It was the same day that I did the last one, and I was just a little bit tired. So I'm going to just run through real quick what I did, just kind of show you in the previous video, and then we'll jump in. I think this is going to just be a housekeeping episode because I'm trying to get my cadence back. I just kept stalling on doing the next one because I knew I had to do a little cleanup and explain what I had already done. So let's just get started, and I think this will be a fairly short one, but I just kind of want to get into the rhythm and get through all the stuff I've already done. So I did a couple changes to my Emacs config and stripped it down the Doom Emacs. Hopefully, it will be a little bit easier to follow along. I mean, nothing major, but so this is some window event stuff that I kind of tweaking with some ideas, but it's not done yet. So let's look at what I've done since. As you can see, this is the hiatus that I had. I didn't want to do anything there for a bit. So this is the this is the last one that was on video. So a couple of these are just simple static inline min max clamp functions. I did the same thing up here for float 32. This is still wrong. This is what I was like wildly just brain dead about. This is something we're going to revisit today as soon as we're done is that blit function. We added a rect, which is this was very simple, but it's just a rect XY with type. It's just a new type in graphics. This is a big change, not a big change, but this is a change that I like currently. And this is unify packages on a single header. I can quickly just show you, for instance, in the graphics folder or module. As you see now, instead of one header and C file matching, there's just a single graphics that has everything. All these headers were small enough for now. I'm just splitting them by color. There's all the color stuff, rectangle, etc. See how small they already are, and then the implementation in the C files. Same with AK. There's types. There's memory, bit set, macros. Like we don't need a million headers. It's really simplifies. See the imports. It's greatly simplified. Let's keep going. This ended up needing to be public. The window. We were trying to make it private. We had it public temporarily, and we had planned on moving everything to an opaque pointer. But for now, I'm going to keep it public because things do need it. We can do like an internal header. We can do a bunch of getters and setters, but I didn't want to do a bunch of getters, especially for like random pointer, not random, but pointers and stuff. I think I'm just going to leave it public for now because applications are going to need to be able to mess with this stuff as well because they're going to, have their own window or draw to a window, I should say, Windows content. We might refine this over time, but that's the way it is now. We just want to keep going. That's the float 32. This is some color utilities for lerping and scaling colors on a F32, like from 0 to 1. Nothing major. The three lines we were drawing, this is totally temporary, but I just extracted it out to a function to simplify our render. Dummy app. Oh yeah, I created a dummy application. To do I did I? Yeah, it is in here. So under EXP for experimental, we have dummy and then an app. And I just was trying to get um, a way to have separate apps and draw functions and stuff. So let's, the best way to look at this is to look at window actually. So window now, instead of rect and content, it's got draw and close function pointers that take the window itself and some context. This is just like the memory allocators where there's context or state that the window would need. So each application is going to have its own window. They're going to set up their own draw and close functions. There'll be an event handler as well in the future. For this dummy app, here's the state, which would be the context. And all this does is oscillate between one color and another for the window. So here's the draw function. We just lerp based on the timer and increment the timer. And that's it. During close, we free everything. The window is responsible for itself currently because the Windows server will just call window close. And we the window maintains its own allocator. Sorry, it doesn't maintain. It keeps a copy, a pointer to the allocator that allocated it, so it can free itself when close is called. You could do this more manually. We may end up doing it more manually, but for now, this is the way it is. You see, we set up the functions, the state, and just return it. Pretty straightforward. It's kind of how we do the memory allocators. I had forgotten to add libmath. Change window to keep allocator. Um, okay, the copy you just saw is the current copy, so this is already changed, but this is just a function to, this is before the window held the allocator, and it used to be called function shutdown. I changed it to close. Pretty minor. Split key and buttons. Oh, this is a good one. Previously, there was just mouse button, event mouse button, and event key. Now we have down and up. And the reason we did that, originally we didn't. I thought it was like nice and cool to keep it all simple, and we would track is down or is pressed. Seemed logical, but it's got sloppy really quick when you were checking. We were going to have to check is down everywhere. Like is down is probably 90% or more of the use cases. You're not usually checking is up unless it's for like state management, but the applications aren't going to care is this down. They're just going to care. Sorry, they're not going to care if it's up. They're typically only going to care if it's down. So let's just separate the events, and they can just listen on is down. I think we'll just get rid of a bunch of branching code in the future or extra checks. I just changed the name to state because we can use the same. I did this because I was thinking about clashing when we link, but it won't be an issue. So we're just going to name it state. Everybody can have one called state T. Lastly, I got rid of stood bool, added true false, and added a static assert. I think this is from, we got this from C11, which we upgraded to last time. All right, so let's just move on. We're already wasted a bunch of time. I'm going to see if I can do this blit deal again and explain it while I'm doing it. I actually had to get some help and look up other spots on this because last time I was just fried. So I think the real issue was this. And it was an issue when the window was off of the target. Like, so the window, not always, but a lot of times is going to be smaller. The source will be smaller than the destination because if you think about the desktop as the full width and then a window, this part where you're determining the source start and end, for some reason I was thinking about the target, not the source. And you really care about the source because if the source is off to the left or up or off to the bottom or off to the far right, you're not going to draw the entire window. Because if it's off 5 pixels to the left, you're going to draw the window, the source window's pixel 5 to the width, not 0, because you don't, yeah, you don't want to jump. You're never going to draw the 0 because it's off screen. So this is just wrong. Source X start. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I-32. So we want the max of, or sorry, the minimum. And the reason we're doing negative here, because we're saying the target, if the target's -5, then we want that to go to +5 in the source, right? Because if it's -5, pixels 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 are going to be off screen, so we want to jump forward into it. So if the target X is -5, we want to start +5. So actually, maybe does this need to be max? So if target X, let's just do some, let's think through it because I want to actually, I looked this up obviously the day after I was struggling. So I didn't want to have it completely fresh in my memory. So I didn't feel like I was copying and pasting it from what I read. I wanted to be able to do it without that. So if target X is -5, it means we're off the screen, right? That means we don't want to draw. So target X. That means we want source X start to be 5. Like, right? Yes. We want it to start, we want it to be 5. So if this is -5, this is going to turn it into 5, which is what we want. But we're saying we're getting the min. We want the max. Yeah, we want the max of that. And that's the same for Y, I think. Or not, I think I know. So that's where we start at. Did I just do X? I meant Y. So we're not going to start at 0. We're going to start at the starting point from here. That makes sense. I'm going to leave that comment for now. And then source X end is kind of the same thing. It is the same thing. So the minimum, instead of 0, it's going to be the width, right? It's the other side. So the max source width, the minimum of that, or and I'll explain this too. We'll find out real quick too as the window starts moving around. Maybe we can do the same thing here. Target. Oh no. Well, we're basing it on source X start. No, let's say the target X, if, let's just say the width is 100, right? And then target X is 95. This is wrong. Target width. Source width is, let's just say 20. So we started at 95. We only want to draw 5 pixels. Source X and equals 5, right? Because we're only going to draw from 15. Sorry, if the window's off to the right, you're going to draw from 0 to 5 because you don't want to draw the other 15 that are off screen. So source X wants to be 5. So source width is 20. Source start is 0 minus. Oh, wait, where did I put target X? Yeah, the minimum of the full width or source start, which is 0 minus 95. Oh, because that's -5. It's the minimum of this. Oh, I think we can see it right here. Is it target width? Yeah, is it target width minus target X? 100 minus 85 gives us that. I'm glad I did that. Target width. Okay, and this is the oscillation I was saying. Let's test one more thing. Dummy. Let's pull this window off screen. Where's the window? Right there. So it's the XY is 100. Let's just go -5 and -10. This is going to blow up because this can't be negative here. We're going to have to start handling errors instead of just inserting on everything for things that can. Maybe we actually might clamp that because we don't want windows to be able to be created off screen, but we want to be able to test it for now. Movement can go off screen, but I don't think you should be able to create off screen. But currently we can't move, so we can't drag the window around, so we're going to do this. We're just going to disable that. Sweet. That is doing exactly what we want. Let's go. What's the screen width? 800. What if I go 700? 800 by 600? Go 500. I'm going to put it bottom right. And you only see, okay, perfect. God, it's not that complicated at all, but I was really struggling with that. And I think it's because I was trying to visualize in this target, not in the source where what you're trying to draw. because since we loop over the source, the target doesn't loop from 0 to whatever. The target gets, is it the source plus the, let me undo this real quick. I'm going to leave these comments here now. I think that kind of explains what we want. I could probably explain this better and just in a comment, but that's going to help me out when I come back here. Yeah, see how the target X is just whatever the target is plus the source? So it's not like we're looping over the target. And I think in my brain, I was thinking the min max, and we were working with the target. The target is derived, the target X and Y, or TX and TY. All right. Okay. Back to square one. I actually don't know what we're going to do after this, but we're going to look around the code because we haven't been here in a couple days. Oh, also, we do need to handle if, because we're doing these, we're changing. Watch this. We are drawing. We don't want to see this. I'm going to draw this thing off screen and just make sure. I think we're going to be, yeah, we're probably going to draw off screen. So we want to, like, if the start X is past the index, because it won't be when it, well, we calculate it based off this. Window, dummy. So let's do 801. And what? Let's just do that actually. So we're drawing. We don't want to be drawing. Come on. If source X start is greater than or equal. I mean, if the start and end is the same pixel, do you draw one pixel thing? Okay, I'm just going to do this for now. Start source X end. Or even if it was off, this feels like it solves to the far right, but yeah, it solves to the far left too. Because if we're like the source start, if we're negative 5,000, then the source start is going to be 5,000 this way. You could also do, this might handle it. I don't want to dive in too much further, but if source start is greater than the width, then you could also return. But let's try this out. Oof, I don't like that. I didn't expect that. I'm going to delete this because it's going to print too many times. Zero. That was just a haymaker. Right over to what? What was? I was doing it because it's getting the. Why is it getting the target? It's doing the target width, and it's not subtracting anything from it. Start and start. Let's do target X, target Y. This isn't like any special format or anything. I'm just trying to get it on screen where I'll recognize it. 0, 0. The target X and target Y are 0. That's a problem because that's not true. It shouldn't be true. Well, that could be true because it's for that, but we're talking about. Oh, that makes sense because that's for the desktop. If target X does not equal 0 and target. Oh, is this all right? I think it's all right. That's printing for the desktop because it is. Yeah, it's off. Holy cow. Well, I'm glad we caught it quick enough so before we go way off the rails. I like that I threw swap and min max in there just as a try. I was thinking because it was grabbing this instead of this and this instead of this when I thought it should be because it's totally off screen. So I was thinking maybe I just had something backwards. But all right, I think we're good. I'm going to get rid of that. Let's add that. get rid of that. So I'm just going to add that to the previous commit. Also, while we're here, I think one thing I didn't that happened also after the other video that I explained in the video that I didn't show was the bit set stuff, which turned out kind of cool, I think. So I don't remember exactly what was there before, but I we had these bit set macros, and I kind of wanted to do it a bit more type safe, which is just kind of a pattern we're doing here. Maybe it's extra typing, whatever, but we're just creating type safe versions of stuff. It's probably slower, probably all that, but it's more fun for us. And the type safe stuff, writing it caught some bugs, especially in like the 64-bit stuff where I wasn't using long longs and there was integer like automatic type conversion. So I explained it here, but I just did a set and a get instead of this check flip, and I did it for 64 and 8. 8 we're using already, 64 we're going to use for the keys, so I just went ahead and threw it in there. And there are some subtle differences here on for casting, but this is kind of cool because I'm just going to explain it real quick to prove that I understand it to myself. Still, is you can't just flip a bit. You can't just set a bit to whatever value you want by just putting it in place because, well, there's no mechanism to do that, but the way we're having to do it is we're clearing it to 0 and then setting it if it needs to be 1. And we're clearing it to 0, and if it's 0, then we set it, it still remains 0. So how that works is we have a bit set, which is just it's a pointer to a U8, which it's not an array of them, it's the bit set itself. We just want to be able to edit it in place here. The position is how far from the right we're moving, is the bit that we want to set. And the value. This is a 1 or a 0. I just did Boolean because I thought it was more fun. No other reason. So we have the existing bit set. We're going to AND it with, we're basically going to take a 1, push it into bit set it into position. So it's, if it's a 3, it's 0, 0. Well, actually, it's right here. So you get this, but this flips the whole thing into a mask, right? So you get this. Then we AND that. So if you can't, the 0 is gonna get, it's gonna get zeroed out because you can't AND with a 0. So no matter what the value is, it's going to get zeroed out right here. So that's the bit set. With everything else is going to be as is, except for that 1 is going to be zeroed because so it's 1 and the existing value was 1, it's going to be 1. If it was a 0, you want to leave it because it's ANDed, it's going to stay a 0. And then we OR it against the value put into position. Like we move over 3. Sorry, we OR that. Everything will be 0 in this new. This is going to create essentially a U8, another bit set, and it's all going to be zeros except for the 1 that we put into position. And since you OR it, all the zeros are going to keep everything the way it was, except for the AND, or except for the position that has the 1 will be ORed, so it'll be set to 1. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's cool. See what else we got. Oh, this is a good one that we're going to do today. I've got multiple drinks going on. this thing. So I kind of came up with this on my own, and I looked it up and saw to see what other people are doing, like see if this is a stupid pattern or not. And I got a much better one, I think. So this just sets it to null. And the reason I did that is I was like, oh, it's cool. We'll have functions called take to signify ownership, and then you do this. The problem is it's easy to forget. There is another way to do it where you use double pointers and you have the function set it. So you still have to remember the function, but you don't have to remember all the call sites. And you use double pointer and you set the original to null, so it's no longer valid here. And since it's a double pointer, or sorry, it will set it to null, so it's kind of no longer valid and should still get caught the way that this is. So I'm going to go kind of off memory here. So let's see if we can do it. Let's see if I actually can remember how it's done. So let's get rid of this. We only have one take function. Yes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a second pointer. We're going to, I thought about this. I don't know what to name this, but I think I'm going to do that because we're going to have to dereference it. And I'd like to use the same name window here. Window, no, let's just do W. Window T pointer, window equals window take dereferenced. And then that's going to make a copy of the pointer. Wait, does it need to be that or that? No, it needs to be that because we want to destroy or set to null window in the parent. So that makes it. So window take, I don't know if I love. That might change. Like anything underscore take, I think it's easy to search for it, but the function you can search for it. Um, and it's kind. I was thinking taken, but it's not already taken. It's it's almost like a command take. So whatever, we'll leave it for time being. This can be. Imagine this failed. So sometimes you might want to do it at the end, or it'd be cool to do it into defer if we were on C23. Um, Actually, C23 I don't think has defer, but recently it's been released where you can use it. Like all compilers have it. Um, but I think for now, just doing it here is okay. We're going to need better handling in the future. And honestly, if you can't get this, we're blowing up. The reason we're going to have error handling is because there's going to be other people using application code, and we need to be able to signify there's a problem. If for all our own stuff, we do want to blow up now and immediately. But we're going to have to start doing better with error handling. All right, so this has broken our code, but for some reason Klang's not telling us. So here we're going to pass a pointer to a pointer. And I'm not going to leave this, but let's do that. We want to assert that it's been set null from inside that function. Boom. So I like this, actually. I think it's kind of cool. I've seen other ones where they do like have a macro that takes this, but in this case, the way it's set up, I think you can forget to do it in the way the pointer versus it's not double pointer, so you can forget to do it. I kind of like this because you cannot forget. Oh, how did I get back to main? You can't forget to take an address of this. And so I kind of like it. It's a good fix. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. All right. I don't know what's next. Let's commit that actually. I mean, that's better. I like everything that's going to take ownership should have take. And we might change the verbiage or something. Move is another option, but um, for now, I'm actually okay with this. I don't hate it, which is a great sign. And I might want to document. I need to document this some level somewhere. I mean, I'll remember, but just something that says something under ownership about the take functions, the double pointers. Mm, I don't know if that's a pretty crap commit message. Is that blue because it's, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Thanks, Emacs. But oh, that must be some of the settings I changed. That's kind of nice that macros are blue. Nothing's white anymore. Like all the code's purple except for scalars or integers, maybe. It's a little too much. Um, One thing that we're gonna do, I don't know if I want to put it in this video, but we definitely need to do is, yeah, if you quit, that's cool. But imagine, and then default, if you don't match those, these actually need to be, because we can get key down, these need to be ifs. If equals OS event quit, or maybe I'll put them separately first. Event type equals OS event key down and that. So we're going to quit, right? If either of these things happen, if you quit or press escape. But server event handle. Something like that, because you're going to pass it to the Windows server. It's going to convert from OS event T to WS event T because we're going to have separate event types. Because Windows server events need to have the mouse stuff, like the where's it? Like the coordinates and everything need to be Windows specific. So all this stuff, position X, Y, that needs to be relative to the window. Or absolutely relative to the window. Yeah, because the window is going to want that. So what we'll have is a separate WS event type, and it will have a very similar thing here. But there's going to be other types too, like mouse enter, mouse leave, stuff that aren't raw. They're a little bit higher level events, but we can share these types. And so I think a good thing prep work for the next video is to move those out actually. So let's undo everything we've done. What are we going to do here? Macros, type def, OS, event. It's kind of long. So I don't know. Do we want to keep this structure like that? You know what I mean? Like, do we want to keep them like this or like this? Nothing else is really like that, but it's not terrible. So let's at least do this. That's the type. And do we hate this? I like not using too much like custom formatting. I mean, that's the whole point of having link formatter, and there's going to be subtle things, but it almost reads like it's easy to parse this and know what's going on and see the differences really fast, I think. I'm going to leave it for now. So then what we're also going to do, I don't know about, we're going to delete all this because we're going to reuse the same ones from OS. So we have WS events. So right now it's essentially the same. Oh, quit. I mean, we're probably going to need quit, right? We're probably, yeah, we're going to need mouse move. I mean, you're going to need all these. You're just going to need them relative, pass through relative, right? But you're also going to have like things like WS window, enter. Leave? I don't know. There's probably other stuff. I don't know if I want to add these right now just to Windows specific. Not duplicate, but mirror. Does that make sense to y'all? Just making sure I'm still recording. So we could handle just these at first. And then we're going to generate. These are like synthetic. Is that the right word for them? Synthetic, I think. I think about optimizations, we can just return structs. I think people used to be scared to do that and do like out parameters with pointers, but I think you get a better API without it. So let's do that until we can't. And what do we want OS to turn them into WS events, or we want WS to turn them from OS events? I think here, because we don't want this. OS doesn't need to know anything about Windows Server, but Windows Server definitely knows about OS already. So yes, event from OS event. Love that. That's almost perfect. Oof. What do we call this in OS? Oh, it's the implementation. We don't. Oh, event. I think that's fair. This is probably going to need some extra validation, but let's just do it pretty gnarly right now. Type equals that's why we want to duplicate. Right? It's that simple. And wait, do we care? Since it's a union, do you, do you just have to pick one? Is that it? Since it's a union, no. Do I do a mem set? So you could do based on the type copied over, but it's all the same bits anyway. How do you get the size of a union? That's not really cheating because I don't know that. And see how to get. Oh, can you do size of on? Is this gonna work? No way. Okay, well, there's another day. That makes this easy. So then we can do not mem set, mem copy, which we should create on our own. I don't want to use this anymore, but for now, let's just test ws event dot u source os event dash u size of. Where does that come from? Is that? I know there's a bunch of weird memory stuff in string. Mem copy. What does it return? Returns the original value of the destination. Why? Mem copy function returns the original value of destination. But it's just a pointer. And it doesn't allocate. So isn't destination still the you're copying? So why the original value of destination is just a pointer to destination? It shouldn't change, right? So we're just gonna ignore. Oh, let's do that. Is this gonna complain if we don't anyway? It's actually kind of. Oh, this might be new too because I'm not committed. I forgot to show it. There's a couple things going on here I'm going to ignore for now. Because there's some discussions around this count thing, so I'm just going to ignore that. Let's just do this. I do want to print though. Can I do super temporary? I quit. Mouse move. Mouse button. Mouse wheel. I just want to make sure these are coming through as expected. And OS can be changed to WS and every. Oop, what was that? Yep. This is going to be event print is this not exhausted? Put them in order. Okay, so we're only going to print W. So we're just converting them. We're making sure that we're getting all the data in this mem copy is kind of what we're testing here. And is that because we're literally never calling this anywhere? So this is event. What we need to do, might end up doing that at some point, but not today. Main. Oh, cool. We can do that. Perfect. Does this want to be that? No. It wants to be this. I would think, right? The server event handle. The server's gonna have to. We're gonna need some stat, like some way to modify the server. Obviously, the type of events coming in, what we're grabbing, blah blah blah. So maybe return bool, but for now, no. This is gonna be OS event T. I was gonna do unused, but we're gonna have to assert it. I think assert is better because we know we're gonna use it, and we don't have to remove this later. Um, event from. I got a better idea. Event. Let's refresh our files. I'm gonna take this, put it in here. Temporary. I'm not gonna keep this at all. And print from over there. Because then we're getting it, return it from the function. It's external to the function. I kind of like that better a little bit. One? No, command super is 8. All right, that's fine, actually. How long has it been? All right, we can easily wrap this up by. I kind of want to do a mem copy, my own mem copy that can wrap this, but we'll see how much time we have. I'd like a mem zero, a mem copy, like mem underscore, all our own native functions. Although ours wouldn't change much from this function signature. But we did copy it. But we need a WS event localize. Is that a word? I mean, I know it's a word, but do we want to return? Do we want to take a pointer that we write to? We could do const WS event T. I think that you can. I mean, do I remember that Lucas talk about modern C, like right when I got into C, I feel like talking about stop having as many pointers, like compilers can optimize these return values. So don't optimize that way. Just do what you would do in a normal language, like take it in, return. You can't mark unused return, I don't think, globally. Where you, but since it's not a pointer, I think it would be. I don't know. Even here, this should be const or just. I need to think about that. I do need to think about that. Do we want to edit in place? And we want to be consistent with this, I think, over time. Doesn't need to be exposed. This can be internal, right? This can be static, I mean. Since none of this is done, what if we just do this for now? Since none of this is like committed, I mean. And then I'll address this in my next video because I'm going to have to come up with something. Like whether I want to do const pointers or just pass structs for like by value when we don't want to modify it. Those aren't pointers anymore. probably need the, is it just the window I need? Again, could be cons pointer, could be. Oh, okay. We might have to pause on this because this is going to spiral. Or we can do a shortcut loop and do hit testing. We don't know what window we have, right? So we can do window equals server. Just get the first one, I guess. Nope. I'm reverting back. Sorry. It's because everything, all this stuff's already going to be a pointer, and then we're going to have to dereference it to pass it to functions. That feels unnatural, kind of. So let's actually do const for now, just to make it'll make everything a little easier. Event that's not const. And we're okay. Let's just edit it in place. No return. This is going to be const. And this is going to complain a bit. Window. Oh, event from OS event, but like we need window in here, but we don't need it in here other than to pass it through. So we could call this and then call it call this outside after. But when you do event from OS event, like WS event from OS event, what you get back, you expect to be done. So I think we're just gonna have to pass this through. This does change in place where this one, it's a different thing though. Okay, whatever. It's not killer. It's not killer. We will clean up later as always. Crap, we don't have the window. This is not the permanent solution again. Window, event, then server. I mean, maybe it makes sense, but I kind of like a minute top. My natural instinct is that. Okay, let's try this again. WS event dot. Since in the union, no, we're just gonna have to do it. Switch on. We actually don't care about those. All we care about is mouse stuff. Event u.mouse move.x equals. We're going to subtract the window x. This might. I don't think this is exactly right, depending on where the window is. We might have some like corner cases we have to deal here. But this could be as simple as this, though. I think, okay, let's make our lives easier. Let's just do this for now. We don't even need to have a special function. So we copy the whole thing, then edit it in place. That's fine. So event from something's not right. Undeclared. Oof. Event from OS event. Window an event. If we need to do, we could just do like manual hit testing here if it hits this window. If, oh shit, we can't. We have the stuff for it right now. Graphics, I added that rect contains. This would be the window rect. I need the, I need, for any of the mouse things, I need like an MX, MY. And then I can do MX, MY. If it contains, then do this stuff, right? But I got to do a switch. What? Const pointer pointer, const pointer pointer. Oh, this is a pointer. Sometimes it does this little, deletes a space. It's always around the type parameter. I'm not sure what that's about, but we need to do a switch on event.type. Have here, we have an OS event, so we need this one. Watch this. Ah, this won't work because what about key events? We can just look at and make sure. We're printing them relative, right? So let's just run it. I was gonna say key events don't have X and Y, so it's gonna skip all those, but this we need to pass a pointer. All right. Ooh, that's nice. This is gonna get wonky. See all this stuff is negative and oversized. Would be shouldn't be shown. One thing I want to do is just disable this. It's too noisy. Scroll, let's click. It should be close to 0, 0. Love that. Freaking love it. And awesome. Okay. We're going to do cleanup and stuff, but this is what we wanted. I think this is a great spot to end. How long's it been? Hour 20. All right. I'm going to pause for just a sec. And we'll wrap up. Okie dokie. Let's see what we can commit without making everything ridiculous. So we added the WS event type event from OS event. Does this need to be Does this need to be even part of the public API? I don't think it does. WS event from OS event. Maybe we just sometimes I haven't figured out what I want to do for static functions. Sometimes I drop the prefix, sometimes do underscore. I kind of like it if something's not prefixed. If something's not prefixed, you just know that it's local, right? Or static. What does this need? Include. We'll do that. I might do the mem copy and mem zero stuff offline. Convert type, copy all data, localize events to the window. To the window. You could say rect, but it's to the window, whatever. We don't care about print. We're gonna just we don't really need to fix all these. That could get moved out, right? Like to the event stuff if this gets big enough. Next time we'll hit test all of the windows from front to back, and then pass those events to the window. The thing is, like, we need to do this stuff, and then we can start dragging windows around, creating new windows and stuff. So it'll be cool, and then we could pass these events to the window, and we're going to have a concept of like the frame or the chrome, like header bar, sidebar, so you can resize and drag, move the window around, and then the Windows contents, like the application content itself, Windows, those events will be sent to the app. And I don't know if there'll be WS events. Probably so, right? I don't think we need another layer of events. Well, at least not now. Who cares? Do we want to combine these? These are just so long. And we can break. We don't want to still handle that event. That was silly on my part. How ugly is this going to be? Pretty ugly. Who cares about a long line? Disgusting. Pass window events to cool. That's a good learning thing we learned there too. All right, I think that's it. The next one will have hopefully some drag functionality, the resize. I don't know if I can do all that in one video, but we'll get more. I'm thinking about video shoot, this is video 9, so video 10, no. Video maybe 15 where we have some stability, 12 to 15. We'll make a why we're doing this. Like it's to I guess essentially to build an OS. But we're doing all the GUI stuff up front, not using AI. I mean, I'm using some AI for like discussions and stuff, but not code. The whole point is so I can kind of figure this stuff out for myself and understand it instead of copy and pasting stuff like I have a lot of my career. Like some of the lower level stuff you just take for granted. So, all right, that's it. Have a good one. Peace.